नमो नमस्ते गुरवे महात्मने विमुक्तसंगाय सदुत्तमाय नित्याद्वयानन्दरसस्वरूपिणे भूम्ने सदा पारदयाम्बुधाम्ने नमस्ते नमस्ते विभो विश्वमूर्ते नमस्ते नमस्ते चिदानन्दमूर्ते नमस्ते नमस्ते तपोयोगगम्य नमस्ते नमस्ते श्रुतिज्ञानगम्य स्वराज्य साम्राज्य विभूतिरेषा भवत्कृपा श्रीमहिमप्रसादात् प्राप्ता मया श्रीगुरवे महात्मने नमो नमस्तेस्तु पुनर्नमोस्तु नमो नमस्तेस्तु पुनर्नमोस्तु नमो नमस्तेस्तु पुनर्नमोस्तु नमस्तस्मै सदैकस्मै कस्मै चिन्महसे नमः यदेतद्विश्वरूपेण राजते गुरुराजते यदेतद्विश्वरूपेण राजते गुरुराजते। Hari Om Tat Sat. Jai Guru. Now we have titled it Following Krishna's Guidance. So generally in the mind it was Bhagavad Gita, and that is what we wanted also. But I thought that that will be missing a very important part of Krishna's guidance. Generally, most of the prescriptions of Krishna appear in Bhagavad Gita as part of Mahabharata. In Mahabharata also, if we read, we will find that there are various guidance, instructions given time and again in different places. But they don't appear as a scripture generally, we don't speak about it. But Krishna appears in another role in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 11th skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam. Generally it is called Uddhava Gita, because it is the instructions given to Uddhava, his associate from the childhood. So if we eliminate that, it will not be a justice done. I don't know how to do in 3 days, but I would like to club that also, because it has got a very, very important part which I generally do not speak, because I generally speak on Bhagavad Gita. I have been speaking on Bhagavad Gita, maybe here also I have already discussed all these things, but the fundamental point, it can be stressed any number of times. It is never overdone. So as I said that Bhagavad Gita starts with a war background, which we should not neglect. We can try to interpret as the war is in our mind and all those can be done. But all our scriptures are written, all the itihasas are written with lot of emphasis on the background. Whether it is Kathopanishad, Mundakopanishad, only few shlokas are there about the background, but they are immensely meaningful because it means where they have to be applied, for whom it is applicable. In our Shastras, there are 4 conditions to be maintained in the beginning they mention, of which one is the adhikara tattva. Adhikara means not right. In Sanskrit, the more important meaning of adhikara is the fitness, deservingness. So, who deserves to read that scripture, or who deserves to have that knowledge? That is very important. Suppose if some very powerful thing is given in the hands of somebody who doesn't have the normal discipline, mental discipline, it can create havoc. You may know that Dronacharya had not given the Brahmastra to Ashwathama because Ashwathama was not disciplined in his mind. He even wanted Krishna's Sudarshana Chakra. Krishna said, "Oh, okay, you take it, it is lying there." He could not even move it. So this background is very important. So here the war background means we cannot think of a more intense active engagement than the Mahabharata war, which was being fought by Arjuna himself in the war field. In Arjuna's mind, the kind of intense involvement was there in activity, killing people. Activity means killing people, killing his own people, brothers and all, friends, and finally his most beloved grandfather, Bhishma, or the teacher, respected teacher from whom he had learnt archery, killing Drona. So we cannot even imagine that kind of involvement. In that kind of intense involvement, if the message of spirituality of Bhagavad Gita can be applied, then what to speak of our ordinary involvement? We say that we have to go to the office, we have to look after the home, so Swamiji, I cannot do my sadhana. So for that, the Bhagavad Gita is the example. You cannot say that I cannot do the sadhana, because Bhagavad Gita is telling us, don't keep your pursuit limited to 10 minutes or half an hour or 1 hour or even 2 hours. You make all your activities spiritual sadhana. Whatever you do throughout the day, whenever you are awake, whatever is being done, even whatever you are thinking, not only acting, whatever you are thinking also, there also the sadhana has to be incorporated. This is the fundamental message of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. And that has been repeatedly insisted. I will go to some of them a little later. So, it was meant to it was meant as an alternative to Upanishadic Sadhana, as I have been explaining. That what was the Upanishadic Sadhana? There the deserving people are the renunciates, those who do not have any worldly involvement, except studying the scriptures, contemplating on the truth explained there, and then perhaps later on teaching the disciples, bringing up the disciples. Other than that, they did not have any engagement in activities. And the Upanishadic sadhana is generally, in English we call it exclusive knowledge pursuit. In Sanskrit we call it Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. Shravana means hearing about the truth or reading about the truth. That means it is a second-hand information. We get the information about the truth from either Guru or Shastras or anywhere. That is Shravana. Then comes Manana. That means you apply your intelligence and mind fully on whatever you have listened to, whatever you have read about the ultimate truth. You analyze with your all rational intelligence whatever questions appear. All the questions should be sorted out until you become absolutely doubtless that yes, this is the ultimate truth. I have no doubt about it. But the fact remains. This is called Manana. The end of Manana is the doubtlessness about the truth, that we are fully certain about the truth. But then comes the Nididhyasana. That means I am doubtless with my intelligence, with my rationality. I understand that this is the truth, no doubt about it. But this is a truth about what? The whole Upanishads, all the spiritual scriptures, they are discussing what? Tell me. About our own identity. Atma. What is that Atma? Atma is aham pratyaya gochara. That I, we are saying, what is that I? Who am I? It is about our own identity. So even if we are doubtless about what is the Atma discussed in the Upanishads, I have not realized that Atma is about myself, my own identity. So there comes nididhyasana, that I have understood that this is the truth about my real identity. I don't know. I feel that I am small. I have to struggle. I have to do my sadhana, everything. But finally, I have to realize that I am the Atma discussed in the Upanishads. And the process of that is called nididhyasana. Nididhyasana means it is completely a contemplation without any break. We generally refer to as Taila Dharavat. Taila Dharavat means like the flow of oil. If you pour water, it will get split into droplets. It's broken. But if you pour oil, it comes down in the same stream. Like that, the mind, when it is doing manana, it is thinking of other things also. It is applying the rationality, it is applying our old knowledge, everything we are applying. So the mind is not flowing like a flow of oil. Whereas in nididhyasana, the mind will only fully be absorbed in the truth and flowing like the oil without any break. And the culmination, the ultimate pinnacle of nididhyasana is the jnana samadhi, we say, that the knowledge becomes realized. That means whatever we have studied about Atma, listened to from the Guru or read from the Shastras about the Atma, that Atma is nothing other than what I am, my own identity. So that fusion takes place at the pinnacle of nididhyasana. Now naturally we can understand that most of us are not fit to do this sadhana, because our mind is taken away by so many other things, involved in so many other things. So the Upanishadic sadhana was restricted to only for the renunciates, who will be completely devoted to this sadhana, going to the forest or going to the Guru in the hermitage, and they will have very simple little work for their looking after their food and all. Other than that, they will be completely devoted to this sadhana. Now, Bhagavad Gita made this goal of what this goal is? Knowing our universal identity. That the Atma is one and universal. The whole universe is, we say generally, pervaded by Atma. That is not the correct expression. No expression is correct, but the better expression will be that the whole universe appears in that Atma. It's an appearance in that consciousness. That is the better expression. So, Bhagavad Gita presented that this goal of realizing the truth about our identity, I will make it available to everybody, anybody engaged in any activity in any stage of life. That in Upanishadic Sadhana, the activities are considered hindrance because we are not able to concentrate, focus on the truth, reading or studying or meditating or contemplating. But for general people, these activities, if you leave, then you will not be able to meditate, which problem came with Arjuna again and again. He said that if you are saying that this is the greatest thing, why are you asking me, Krishna, to fight the war? I would better go to the forest, live on bhiksha, and pursue the sannyasa life of exclusive jnana nishtha. I will discuss about the shlokas. Krishna is repeatedly saying, no, it is not for you. You are not fit for that. Because you have contemplated on war and on Duryodhana for 14 years. So if you go to the forest and try to meditate or contemplate on the truth, your mind will not be, in your mind only Duryodhana will appear and the war will appear. So you will lose both the sides. Neither you will be able to do the activity as your sadhana, nor you will be able to succeed in the exclusive knowledge pursuit. This has been clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita repeatedly, beginning of 3rd chapter, beginning of 5th chapter. There are many other places also. And the speciality of Bhagavad Gita is after giving each piece of knowledge, Krishna says, Tasmat Yudhyasva Bharata. This is not there in any scripture in our land. After telling the truth, he is not saying that therefore you meditate, you contemplate and realize the truth. He is saying, Tasmat Yudhyasva Bharata. Therefore you fight. After talking all about Atma, Brahman, at the highest state also, after presenting that, Krishna says, therefore you fight. What does it mean? We have to think about all these things. It means that the Tasmad Yuddhasva means to attain this is your path. You have to fight the war. But fight the war in the manner I am asking, not in the manner you have thought about. Now, what was Arjuna's mind? In the first chapter, 44th or 45th verse, he is saying that ahovata mahat papam kartum vyavasita vayam yat rajya sukha lovena hantum swajanam udyata. He says that, Krishna, we are out to perform one of the greatest sin. Why? Because we are going to kill my most beloved grandfather, my own brothers, my own teacher. For what? Yat Rajya Sukha Lobhena. This point is extremely important. Rajya Sukha Lobhena. That means out of the greed for winning the kingdom and enjoying the comfort of kingship. Neither the kingship is comfortable, nor it is certain that he will win. All that was mistaken. But the fact remains that the Arjuna's mind, it was a greed for enjoying something in life. And Krishna's method was that, no, it is not that. I am wanting you to fight the war to establish a righteous rule on earth. That the whole earth has become loaded with corruption, particularly the kings. If the kings become corrupt, then the whole population will become corrupt. So we have to get rid of this corruption. We have to establish a righteous rule. Proper people should come as the king. So this huge Mahabharata war, many people will die. Many of the good kings also may die. But in the process, the corruption should go from earth and a good rule should be established. So Arjuna, you are not fighting the war for winning and enjoying the kingship, but to establish righteous rule on earth, to save the society you are fighting. And because you are a great fighter, maybe the greatest fighter of the time, it is your role to do that. In the process, even if you may die, you may not win also. But what can you do? That can happen. We should be able to take it. Suppose I don't win the war. Nothing can be done. You have fought to your best. That's all. So, the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to utilize the activity to go have the same goal as the Upanishads promise. How do you have it? Very simple but emphatic discovery is there in Bhagavad Gita. I have spoken in many places, but in brief, I will speak about it. Not today. Now, this is what Bhagavad Gita message of Krishna. So, be attentive to that one is the Upanishadic Sadhana of exclusive knowledge pursuit, Kevala Jnana Nishtha we say. The other is the Bhagavad Gita way of remaining in the activity, whatever we are doing, but changing the mindset completely. And what should be the mindset? Bhagavad Gita presents this as Buddhi Yoga. What is that Buddhi Yoga? We say Karma Yoga, Karma Yoga. Yes, it is Karma Yoga. But the yoga aspect is more important. It is not just doing karma. People get involved in more and more activities saying that I am doing karma yoga. No. You are doing karma only. That karma, any karma you do has to become yoga. That is the important point in karma yoga. And what is that yoga? In Bhagavad Gita, that yoga is presented as Buddhi Yoga. Why? In our personality, intelligence is the leading factor. Suppose our senses are moving. Without the leadership of the mind, the senses cannot do anything. There has to be an approval of the mind, an association of the mind for the senses to act. The mind again is controlled by the intelligence. So, we have to take recourse to the intelligence to have a complete discipline of our personality. To make the personality integrated, the intelligence has to discipline the mind has to have complete hold over the senses. Then only the personality will become integrated. Now, how can the intelligence control? If the intelligence also is, generally our intelligence is following to fulfill the mind's desires and greed and all. So he says that the process is to anchor the intelligence in the truth. What is that truth? Our real identity. So the intelligence has to always get anchored in the truth and then guide the mind will guide the senses. It has been very clearly exposed in Bhagavad Gita. Can you show the chariot? You have it, Miru? Chariot, can you show? Is it visible? Now, this is from Kathopanishad, but it is equally applicable to the Bhagavad Gita picture. It is showing an integrated personality. In Bhagavad Gita, it says, Indriyani paranyahuhu, indriyebhya param manaha, manasastu parabuddhihi, yo buddhehe paratastu saha. See how clearly Krishna is giving the indication of our sadhana. He says, Indriyani parani iti ahuhu. The Indriyas are very powerful. It is said by the rishis that Indriyas are extremely powerful. Indriya means the sense organs. They are very powerful. They will pull us here and there. For example, the horses, unless they are disciplined, the moment they are on the road, if they see some fruits or some other cultivation there, they will get down there and start eating. They will not be on their path. So he says, Indriyani parani iti ahu, Indriyani paranyahu, Indriyebhya param manaha. But know that the mind is superior to the sense organs, because without the connection of the mind, the Indriyas cannot function. Is it not? Suppose you are sleeping, your eyes are opened and something is shown. That picture will be there on your retina, but you will not know what you have seen, because the mind is sleeping. The mind was not wakeful at that time. So, Indriyani paranyahu, indriyebhya param manaha. Mind is superior to the sense organs. Manasastu para buddhihi. Still superior to the mind is buddhi, the intelligence. Then he gives the indication, yo buddhehe paratastu saha. We know only up to the intelligence, but there is something superior to the intelligence, and that is where our focus has to be. Whether it is Upanishad or Bhagavad Gita or any other Srimad Bhagavatam or anywhere, the focus has to be on that identity which transcends even the intelligence. That is the point. Yo buddhehe parataha tu saha, which transcends the intelligence. That is our focus. Then he says, Evam buddhehe param buddhva. Knowing that which is transcending the intelligence, which is superior to the intelligence. How will you know? Buddhva. You have to know with your intelligence. Normally we are not able to know. But finally the understanding has to dawn in the intelligence. So there has to be a transformative pursuit, a process which will purify the intelligence, make it subtle, and finally the intelligence will be able to grasp that when it becomes purified of its other covering of desires and all. So, evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhya atmanam atmana jahishatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. It has come from the Arjuna's question that Krishna, you have told everything, but the fact is that even great people also, they are being drawn, like their mind is not at all peaceful. they are not able to sit and meditate. So Krishna pointed out that it is because kama esha, krodha esha, rajoguna samudbhava. It is the desire, it is the greed, it is the anger coming all from the desire, from the kama, that causes the mind to get destabilized. So if you can remove that desireful tendencies of the mind, how will you remove? This is the method. That getting established in that transcendental identity which supersedes the buddhi, then from there you can treat. So here actually I wanted to show that first of all the senses, the horses are representing the senses. So you discipline the horses, otherwise the chariot will not move. First of all, the sense organs have to be disciplined. See, if the senses are not disciplined at all, then we will not be able to study the scriptures also. Even what I am speaking, nobody will be able to understand also. If the senses are absolutely reckless, then nothing can be understood. So the initial discipline of the senses have to be there. Not only for this, for anything, even a small child, to start the studies, his senses have to be disciplined, otherwise always he will play. Anything, if you want to learn music, senses have to be disciplined. If you want to become a good sportsman also, the senses have to be disciplined. Without sense discipline, nothing can be done in life. So they have to be disciplined, but then finally the control has to be from the mind. Now here actually in Kathopanishad the reins, the lagama is, the reins are compared with the mind. And the charioteer is compared with the intelligence, and here is the Atma or our real identity. Now I have put a small boy in front on the lap of the intelligence, that real charioteer. In front of him a small boy is sitting. That I have named as mind. It is because of some actual incident we had. We were moving in a bullock cart and it was a dangerous, adventurous movement, and where a small child was actually controlling the horses. From there the idea came. I thought that if we say that the reins are the mind, the reins are not having any living nature. So we can maximum say that the reins have to be very strong, they should not be weak, so that when you pull the reins will break. But truly speaking, the mind is having the connection with the life, so it is a living entity. So a small boy who is learning to drive is the mind, and his father or grandfather is the intelligence who is teaching him to run the chariot. That was the idea. Now the intelligence will ask the mind, that is, he will control the lagam, the reins, and run the horses. Now if the intelligence doesn't know where to go, then where will he drive? In a car, when you are sitting, there is a driver. If the driver just starts driving without asking the owner, will the car reach the destination? First thing for the driver is to ask the owner, where do you want to go? What do I have to take the car? Like that, the intelligence first must ask the Atma, the real identity, that where do we want to go? It's a chariot of life. And we have to reach the ultimate goal of fulfillment, which cannot come until we get fused to our real identity. Until we discover our real identity, the fulfillment will not be there. Thinking many things, we are all moving towards the same path, but we don't know. We all want to become happy. Is it not? Whatever we are doing, we are thinking, I will become happy by doing it. By the result, what will happen? I will get money. By that, I will do this, I will do that. By that, finally what it is? I will become happy. But nobody is becoming happy, otherwise we would have become fulfilled. By having riches, by having great power, by having great fame, we are not becoming really happy. So there is a mistaken, there is a delusion that something from the world will make me happy. That is where spirituality comes. That delusion has to be removed, and we know that the source of happiness is right within. Running after the world, when we stop, then automatically we become happy. That is the secret of it. So this is our goal, that to reach that real identity and remain anchored there is our goal. So the intelligence has to constantly take the advice, get anchored to the real identity and take the advice from there. Where am I to take the chariot? Why I have said this? Only to say that in Bhagavad Gita, the karma yoga is actually the yoga aspect of doing karma. And what is the yoga aspect? It is the buddhi yoga according to the Bhagavad Gita. And what is the buddhi yoga? When the buddhi remains anchored in our real identity or the truth, the Atma, which is the same as Brahman, which is our real identity, as well as the source of the entire universe also. So to keep the buddhi always anchored there is the sadhana of Bhagavad Gita. Is it meaningful or it's all becoming confused? More, I am confusing you. So, what do? Whatever is the Atma, here another sadhana is getting integrated. Suppose we meditate. What is the goal of meditation? Is it not the discovery of the self that we want to get into samadhi? What happens? It is Atma Sakshatkara. That is, the world is forgotten. When I say the world is forgotten, we should not forget that the world, my body-mind personality is also a product of nature, product of the world. When the world is forgotten, the I we think we are, the egoistic personality also will get dissolved. It will not be there in the mind. So when everything wipes off from the mind, then the real identity, the observer of everything, the knower of everything, the I, real I, it manifests itself. It reveals itself. So in the meditation, our goal is to get into the touch of this real identity. We call it soul, call it Atma, call anything. That is our goal. Now, if we are not able to meditate, or even if we are able to meditate also, after coming back from the meditation, the rest of the wakeful hours, what do? So, Bhagavad Gita is telling us that throughout the wakeful hours, we have to remain anchored in that goal of meditation. That means, whatever is the goal of meditation, we have to make the goal of our active life also. Are you able to understand that? The goal of meditation is to come in touch with the Atma. Now we have to organize our activity, the mind particularly, in doing any activity in the manner that the Atma will become the goal of all our activity. How will it become? Whatever the Atmic dimensions are, whatever the dimensions, the parameters of the Atma, we can incorporate that in our active life. How? Suppose our Atma is absolutely unaffected by everything. It is universal. It is not fragmented by the body-mind personality. So it is universal, it is unaffected, untainted, immortal. All these things we have to learn from the Shastras. These are the qualities of the Atma. If we get into meditation, we realize that this is what it is. Even if you don't go into meditation, we are not successful in meditation. Can we not incorporate these dimensions in our activities? That is, whatever we are doing now, we are doing like Arjuna for a selfish gain orientation. Yat rajya sukha lobhena. Change it into that whatever my capability is, whatever the world needs, is to establish a righteous rule. I am fighting for that. I may die in the process also, it doesn't matter. I am a warrior. I am an administrator. I am doing my job there. So the Atmic dimension is forgetting the selfish gain orientation and replacing it with a societal universal dimension. Similarly, when we are suffering from likes and dislikes, raga dvesha is a major point in Bhagavad Gita. Suppose what I do not like, we become hateful about it. Suppose a person we do not like. So even seeing the person makes us intolerant, hateful about it. You can think of an example. Suppose A, B, C, three friends are there. Now, if A speaks ill about B and C also speaks ill about B, so A and C together when they speak, their hatred towards B grows out of their gossip or conversation. Is it not so? Is it understandable? Normally we are hateful about B, it is okay. C is also hateful about B. When A and C, they join together and discuss about B, by their interaction the hatefulness is growing through that. So all our interactions are like that. It is enhancing the raga-dvesha we say, that is clinging to what I like and hating what I dislike. And throughout our day you will find out that our mind is mostly occupied with, I want to get what I like, I want to avoid what I dislike. You look into your mind throughout the day one day and then tell me. Throughout the day this is going on, not only in activity, in our mind these activities are going on. That we are always a little apprehensive, we feel nervous. When do we feel? We feel fearful. When? When there is a slight wave in my mind that I have to face something which I do not like. I have to face something unfavorable situation. These sadhaka, a pursuer, will have to look into the mind and set right all these things. So all these cases which are arising from the small identity, small selfish gain-oriented identity we are living with, they have to be replaced with a universal. When you become universal, everything is in me. So what is there to be fearful about? Whatever comes we will take. Maybe I will die. What is there? So many people are dying in the world. I will also die. What is so great about it? If I fail in the exam, I will fail. My father will give me a slap and send me out of the house. I will roam around in the road. What is so great about it? We are unnecessarily creating our disturbances in the mind. Everything, if we are ready to accept whatever comes, then the mind becomes absolutely free. So here the point is that whatever is the goal of meditation, we are trying to establish that goal in our interactive life also. So the meditational, contemplational and reading sadhana, which is non-interactional sadhana we say. That means there is no interaction. I am doing it alone, either studying the Shastras or meditating or singing, whatever. So the goal of that and the goal of interactive life, whether we are working in the office or cooking food, or we are fighting a war also, as in Arjuna's case, the goal was replaced by the personal gain-oriented mentality to the societal universal mentality orientation. So everywhere the goal will be the same. Now, those who are fit for the Upanishadic Sadhana, they will constantly contemplate about the Atma. That means they will interact with the concept of the Atma till they become that Atma. That is, whatever Atma we are knowing, it is not anything outside object. It is the I in us. So they get fused in it. Those who are doing the interactional sadhana, they also, by establishing the Atmic dimension in our interactive life, they will find the mind is becoming like the sky-like dimension, spatial dimension, stress-free, unaffected, will not get affected by anything at all, because he is constantly purifying the mind of this affectation, smallness, selfishness, greed, etc. So it becomes his living experience. It becomes so joyful for him to pursue this sadhana, because every time the mind expands and wins over its small clinging, fear, selfishness, it gives such a great joy that itself becomes our impetus for sadhana. And gradually we grow to higher and higher dimension of our own identity. And when we become fit for the meditation, automatically when the mind becomes pure, if you sit, your mind will go into meditative state and you can attain the Atma Sakshatkara there automatically. But if you had tried it in the beginning, you would not have been able to do, because the mind was not under your control. As the mind has already established in all its activity the Atmic dimension, when he sits for meditation, he goes to the same Atma. So actually in our lineage, it is said that our guru's guru used to say that one does not have to do meditation. Meditation dawns. In Bengali, dhyan korte hoy na re, dhyan hoy. Dhyan korte hoy na re, dhyan hoy. You don't have to meditate. Meditation will dawn. That is what happens. When the mind becomes pure, when you have nothing to do, automatically the mind will go into the samadhi state. Not only that, it is said that whatever he does, it is samadhi. It is called sahaja samadhi. Sahaja samadhi means it is a sahaja state. It is the natural state of our mind. When the mind becomes pure, in the verse it is said, yatra yatra mano yati tatra tatra samadhaya. That is, in meditation we want to become thoughtless and then only we call it samadhi. In this case, what happens? Whatever you do, you don't see anything other than the Atma. Everything is appearing in the Atma. So you don't miss Atma at all. In meditation, you have to forget everything to get to the Atma. And in this case, interacting with everything, you are always floating in Atma. So, yatra yatra mano yati tatra tatra samadhaya. Wherever the mind goes, but all the states are samadhi only for him. He doesn't have to meditate to get into that atmic state. So, this is the general procedure that those who can meditate, contemplate, do the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, they can straight away go there. Those who cannot, they need not wait for one day, I will be freed of the worldliness and samsara and nobody will ask me to be in the family, or so I will go to the forest and I will meditate at that time. Nothing like that, you will not be able to. So why wait? You start your sadhana right at the point where you are, what you are doing, just by transforming the mindset. Mindset, you understand, the basic structure of the mind, which is always small, that has to be expanded. Which is selfish, has to be made selfless, universal. Which is always getting fearful, affected, will have to be made unaffected, fearless. As it grows in expansion, fear, joy, everything will become equally hosted by the mind. No favorable, that clinging to something I like, hating what I dislike, all these things will go. Now in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna appears in another dimension. This is the other side of the sadhana. He had already lived for 125 years. In Srimad Bhagavata, 11th skanda, Brahma comes, it's a story also together, that Brahma comes and tells Krishna that you have to come back to your abode, Vaikuntha. You know, Vaikuntha, all these Sanskrit terms have got a meaning. Vaikuntha means Vikuntha. Kuntha means constriction. So Vaikuntha is not a place where one will go after death. Here the story is like that you come back to Vaikuntha. Actually Krishna was already in Vaikuntha. His mind was not constricted. So we say that the Vishnu's abode is Vaikuntha because Vishnu name also means Atati Vyapnoti iti Vishnu, that which is all pervading, uniform truth, the consciousness, the Atma, the Brahman, that itself is Vishnu. So we are having Vishnu's 4 hands and 2 legs and all those things. They are given to aid our focus, that we will not be able to imagine which is all pervading. Even if we say all pervading, we will think of space or something objective. But it is not objective. The whole objective universe is revealed by what? By our subject, the consciousness. Without that, the universe will not be known. So because the whole universe is appearing in that consciousness, we call it all pervading. That it is not all pervading, all is in that. All is appearing in that. So Vishnu also means which is everywhere. So they came, Brahma and others, many people came, the full team Brahma came and then told Krishna that you have to come back to Vaikuntha. Krishna said that I have only one more work to be done. You said that everything has been done, one is remaining. What is that? Our Yadava Kula, being my Vangsha, my lineage, they have become very proud, haughty, arrogant and whatnot. Because Krishna became so famous by his glorious actions and all. Everybody it happens. People generally say, Brahmabandhu, what is that? My father is Prime Minister. So I can do anything, all illegal things also, like that. My father is president. So like that, Krishna was famous, so his lineage, everything they became very arrogant, haughty. So Krishna said that I am able to control them even now because they have the prestige because of me. So they listen to me. If I go away, they will completely destroy the society. Like the example he gives, as if the sea is not bound by the bank, the sea overflows the bank. It will just happen like that. They will destroy the whole society. So before I leave, I would like to completely eliminate my progeny. Can you imagine the kind of unaffectedness a person has? Will you be able to do like that for your children, grandchildren or something? Not that, elimination is not necessary, but at least that free, impersonal vision that maybe they are my children, grandchildren and others, but that they are detrimental to the society and knowing that I have to do something. So he said that after finishing that I will go. And that is the time the 11th skanda of Srimad Bhagavatam discusses that they went to Prabhasa according to Krishna's advice, the whole lineage, the Vamsha, they all went to Prabhasa and there they fought with the, what is that called? What is it called? Darbha, but it became Mushala, that like killing each other with that and all, and they got destroyed by themselves. But the fact is that when Brahma came and requested, Uddhava was an associate of Krishna right from childhood. He came to know that then Krishna is going to leave this world. That means Krishna is leaving his body. So he was so fond of Krishna throughout his life, he has been with him. So he became very concerned about it. If I will not be able to live if Krishna leaves the body. Naham tavangri kamalam. What is that? It is there, I had written today, no? Naham tavangri kamalam kshanardham api keshava tyaktum samutsahenatha swadhama niyamam api. He says that your lotus feet, even for a second, fraction of a second, I will not be able to live without holding on to your lotus feet. So there is no question of leaving the refuge I have got in your lotus feet. Please take me when you go back to Vaikuntha or wherever you go. Please take me along with you. Swadhamanayamamapi. Now, in the process, what Krishna instructs is that no, that is not possible. So, you are afraid of my death. You leave me before I die. Before I leave my body, you go. And he instructs him to go to Badarika ashram with the sandal and all. And finally he went. That is the Bhagavatam story. Carrying the paduka on his head, he started moving after the instruction is over. Now the whole instruction part, in that process, when Uddhava says that I am not able to leave, then Krishna instructs him that how he should live. And in the process, it comes out that Uddhava was having all kinds of sakti, attachment, as you say, in Bhagavad Gita, whatever is spoken of. He was having all those problems with his family and other people. I am not able to leave that, I am not able. You can see that throughout his life, he has been in association with Krishna. Even then, he had all these backlogs still remaining. He had not become all right. So he had to do some sadhana even then, which will relieve him of the attachment, the clinging he was having, clinging to what I like and intolerance or hateful about what I do not like. So to get rid of ragadvesha is not that easy. A person who stayed with Krishna throughout life, in the fag end of the life also he is not able to get out of it, which Bhagavad Gita repeatedly asks us to do. Bhagavad Gita, the mainstay is ragadvesha, getting rid of ragadvesha. Ragadvesha viyukta istu in vishayan indriyeshcharan atma vashair vidhe atma prasadam adhigacchati. One who is freed of the repeatedly Bhagavad Gita says nothing wrong with the world. World will remain whatever it is. But if your mind is freed of the clinging to what you like and hating what you dislike, then you will attain prasada, the placidity of the mind, which will remain whether you suffer or whether you are happy in everything. That prasada is never going to change. Atma vashair vidhe atma. He says that such a person who is without ragadvesha, he interacts in the same world with the same sense organs. His sense organs have not got changed. But still, he is no more a slave to the objective situations. He is not slave to his sense organs. He is not slave to his likes and dislikes. He is Atma-vash, because he is under the guidance of his Atma. That is what Buddhi Yoga is saying. Buddhi Yoga means getting anchored, the intelligence anchored in the Atma, in the real identity. So when Ragadvesha goes, he can get anchored in the real identity. Atma vashair vidhe atma. He doesn't have to follow any of the external rules people generally follow, because he is guided by the most auspicious truth, which is his identity, real identity, and he is focused on that. Prasadam adhigacchati. If he courses through suffering also, his placidity will not go. If he courses through happy situations also, he will not become elated. In dukkha, he will not become depressed. We are always depressed in grieving in dukkha and elated when we are in sukha. When you become free of raga dvesha, then sukha will come, dukkha will come, equally you will host that. You may have a little resistance about it and accepting it, but I will give you an example which I always give, that in dukkha also there is ananda. Because when you read a novel of pathos, or you see some film where pathos is pictured, don't you shed profuse tears? If you are a good person, you will shed, because the mind has to be sensitive to that. In childhood, when we are even, suppose, reading the Oliver Twist, or so, how much of tears we have shed in seeing many films also. So, we are paying money to go and shed tears, is it not so? Going to the cinema, shedding tears, then can you say that in shedding tears there is no joy? There is a very deep joy in it, great joy in it. More joy than when you see any humorous jokes, what is that called? Comedies or so. The comedy you may laugh. But in suffering, where the pathos are pictured, in hosting that suffering, the mind goes to a much higher, deeper level, where a deeper joy is there. That is the placidity we are talking about. That when the mind becomes free of raga dvesha, then whether it is suffering or it is happy situation, the mind will always remain in a placid mode. So, what did Uddhava do? His mind was still not rid of raga dvesha. So Krishna had to advise him how to get rid of the raga dvesha. The whole Uddhava Gita is that advice. And there the major point is, message-wise, I will read out some of the shlokas, one or two at least, which are similar to Bhagavad Gita. Manmana bhava madbhaktah madhyadi mam namaskuru. That you install me as everything, as the supreme, and give your mind all the thoughts to me, follow me everywhere. All these are there. But not through the war. In Bhagavad Gita, when he is seeing Arjuna, after listening to the message, he has to fight the war. So while fighting Bhishma, that Arjuna has to keep his mind on the ultimate truth. Here it is not that. Here he is advising Uddhava to go to Badirkashram and sit in meditation and do that. His mind is also not clear, as in the Upanishadic Sadhana, the renunciate's mind is required to be. Uddhava's mind was not fit for that Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. But there is a way still. He was still not perfect. So what was the way suggested? That is the bhakti, the devotional way. Devotion is there in everything. Even to pursue Bhagavad Gita also, you need devotion to the ultimate goal. It will be needed. But the pursuit becomes devotional in Uddhava's case, where he has grown to a certain age and then he has not reached the goal. He has to reach the goal, but he is not fit for the Upanishadic Sadhana even then. What is the sadhana for him? That is why I said that if I don't take Krishna's advice from Srimad Bhagavatam, it remains incomplete. Because one sadhana is Upanishadic sadhana. Other is Buddhi Yoga suggested by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, which has to be pursued through activity. Now, when a person has become retired, he has become old. He is not involved in so much of activity. There is a way, that is the devotional way, he has to follow there. So he is saying that, Tvam tu sarvam parityajya sneham swajanavandhushu. Huh? Is it there? I'm forgetting. Tvam tu sarvam parityajya sneham swajanavandhushu mayaveshya manasamyak samadrik vicharasva gam. Leaving everything, your own people, your friends, your property, completely taking refuge in me, seeing everything as laden with Atma, considering everything as an appearance in Atma, simply leave, go. You will not like it because it is asking you to leave and go for Vanaprastha or Sannyasa. But that is the way. Either you do, if you are fit, you take to Upanishadic Sadhana. That's the fastest. It is said that Jnana Sadhana is like, suppose on a high branch of a tree there is a ripe fruit. We are trying to pluck it. We will need a long stick and with something we are trying to pluck. Even when you pluck, finally it may fall on the ground and break also. You may not get it fully. Whereas a bird, seeing that fruit, the bird is sitting on another high tree, on the branch of a tree. Seeing the fruit, it straight flies there and eats the fruit. So this exclusive Jnana Nishtha is like that. But we have to be the bird who can fly straight and take the fruit. That we are not. We are not fit for that. So in that case, what do? We change our all activities. We don't have to change the activities, only the mindset with which we are performing the activities. That mind has to be changed, transformed, by replacing all the gain orientation, selfishness, self-centeredness, raga-dvesha, clinging to likes, hating what we dislike, removing them. The mind has to be purified and made like the sky, like the space. And nobody has to tell you, you will feel the sky-like dimension of the mind. You will find that previously I used to go so much affected by whatever is happening. They are simply passing over. I don't get affected by anything at all. Doing everything. Whenever somebody dies, we are doing something. Everything we will do. If we have to shed tears, if we are there, we will shed tears also. But those will not be able to affect us at all. We will not cry, wail and all. We will simply shed tears in such cases also. So if that dimension can be had, it is okay. If that dimension has not come, we have grown, then take to devotion. And what are the devotional pursuits? That is all greatly. It's a great enrichment in Srimad Bhagavatam, the 11th skanda, where we call it Uddhava Gita, the whole message given to Uddhava. That is why we say a spiritual person, a saint, does not reply a question. He replies questioner. Do you understand? Same question asked by A, asked by B, asked by C, the reply will be different from the saint. Because it has to relieve A, relieve B, relieve C. Not only that, the same A person asking a question at the age of 12 or 24 and asking the same question at the age of 62, the reply will be different. So for Arjuna, in every moment, Krishna's guidance is Tasmad Yuddhasva Bharata. Therefore, Arjuna, you fight. And utilize this war as a great sadhana to take you to the highest goal. Whereas for Uddhava, at the ripe age of it, his advice is leave everything, go and completely get absorbed in me. So this completes the whole dimension of advice given by Krishna, guidance given by Krishna. I will go into the details tomorrow. If any question is there, one or two I can deal with. Is it understood properly? We should have a very clear-cut picture of the whole thing. The two advices are different. In Uddhava Gita, he is not saying Yuddhasva at all. He is not saying that you remain here and change your mindset and whatever you have been doing, you do. No. He says you leave everything, go and get your mind completely fused in me. When I went to my Gurudev Baba Gangadhara Paramhamsa, Swamiji's Gurudev also, that was my initiation was from him. I found there was a big poster kept on the door there, where it was written, "Come to a man of business, do your business, finish your business, leave the man of business to his own business." So I liked it very much that, Baba, you have put it here, so anybody coming to see you will know that I should not further continue my talk. You finish your business, you have come to a man of business. And what is the man of business? Throughout the day he is on his asana. He doesn't move from there at all. Baba was absolutely, when we saw, he was, throughout the day he was on the asana, lying mostly. Only for bath and food he would come down like that. So, that is the real business. What is the business there? The real business of remaining anchored in the self or Brahman. So you have come to a man of business. You talk about business. Business means about Adhyatma Shastra, about how to attain the fulfillment and all. Finish your business. Whatever you wanted to know, you finish. Then leave the man of business to his own business and go away. So I wanted that to be taken and put in my room. Maybe I was doing research at that time, yes. So Baba said, no, it is not for you now. You take I have some printout of that also. You take it, but you keep it, don't put it now. You have to meet so many people of the world, you have to do so many things. After everything is over, you put it there. I am saying this because the same person also, the advice becomes different in different times. It is like Arjuna wanting to take to meditation and Baba saying, no, it is not for me. You meditate, you have whatever you want, but thereafter you have to come back to work and you will have to do your work. That was a clear guidance. Some question somebody was asking, no?
I'm here.
Is there?
Pranam Swamiji.
Where?
I'm right here.
Oh, sorry.
So this is a very basic question. I had a question about the chariot. I feel like I'm hearing myself. So I have learned about the chariot analogy for a long time, for many years, but I've always had this question about this. If you compare it to the chariot of Bhagavad Gita,
Bhagavad Gita doesn't speak about the chariot.
No, I mean,
the same order is there.
Right. So if you think of Atma as whatever is traveling in a chariot, and the charioteer is the intelligence, is that correct? Is that how it is explained in the Kathopanishad? So one question would be, if that is comparable to the chariot that is there in the war in Mahabharata, Then the Atma that's a different...
No, any illustration is to give us the feel of our sadhana. What are we supposed to do? Here the Atma is shown as a person, but actually, truly speaking, Atma is the all-pervading universal consciousness in which the whole world is appearing. So you cannot compare that way. But the comparison is very apt here, that how is the order in our personality? It is representing our personality.
Okay.
And what at the end he is saying, one where it is integrated, that is every action, every time the intelligence is taking its order from the master of the chariot, and the mind is following the intelligence, and the horses are following the mind, then the chariot reaches the Vaikuntha, ultimate level. Now it is not that the chariot moves and goes to Vaikuntha there. There the whole chariot is representing our personality. It becomes identified with the real identity, that's all.
Okay.
It's the order of in our personality.
Okay. So the intelligence is not necessarily Krishna or...
No, nothing like that.
Nothing like that. Okay.
If Krishna at all is there, he is the Atma.
Atma, okay.
Because he has identified himself with the real Atma, real identity, so Krishna is that. That is why repeatedly he says, the one who does this, he becomes like me, or he gets identified with me. Repeatedly in Bhagavad Gita it is said. Me means what? There Krishna is a knower who has identified himself with the universal identity. So anybody who identifies with the universal identity becomes Krishna there. Identifies with Krishna, he comes to me. All these statements are used.
Thank you.
Shall we stop? Prabudham vimuktam vikaraadihinam prasannam sada nityabodhasvarupam param nishchalam nirgunam sarvarupam bhajeham sadanusmarami pranomi. Prabudham vimuktam vikaraadihinam prasannam sada nityabodhasvarupam param nishchalam nirgunam sarvarupam bhajeham sadanusmarami pranomi. Hari Om Tat Sat.